Right, welcome to another brew day. So today I'm going to be brewing up a pale ale. It's kind of a smash beer, I guess. I'm using this Maris Otter extract. I've got 2 cans of this. So this is the only malt I'm using. I'm not going to bother with any steeped grains or anything. I'm literally just using 2 cans of this Maris Otter extract. And I'm going to be using 1 hop, which is Harlequin. So this is kind of the new kid on the block in terms of UK hops. It's supposedly like kind of aimed at, you know, these high intensity sort of American or New Zealand hops that are full of tropical fruit aromas and flavours. I think it's only kind of been released for a couple of years now. Certainly one I've not tried, but I've been keen to give it a test to see how it comes out and if it kind of lives up to its growing reputation. I've seen a few other people brewing with it, and the results they've had seem to be pretty good. So I'm going to be doing a 19 litre batch, 2 cans of this, which is essentially 3 kilograms of liquid malt extract, the Maris Otter. I've got 100 grams of Harlequin pellets. So I'm going to be using 50 grams of that in a boil. So I'm actually going to boil 1 can of this. I'm going to kind of only use half of the extract in the boil. So I'm going to use 50 grams spread throughout a 30-minute boil, and then I'm going to dry hop it with the remaining 50 grams. So I'm really hoping that I'm going to sort of let these hops shine through, and I'm going to get the most out of them. I'm going to be making kind of late additions in the boil, so really get the most out of the flavour and the aroma of these. They're quite a high alpha acid hop, so around about 10% alpha acid. So you're going to add quite a lot of bitterness during the boil. So I can get away with sort of backloading it and getting some of that bittering in late on. So yeah, it's going to be a really straightforward brew. As I say, I'm going to just boil 1 can of this in probably about 10 litres of water. Just add the hops throughout that. I'll add those in the comments so you can see exactly when I'm going to be doing it. And I'll cool it down, top up to 19 litres, and then pitch my yeast. So for this I'm using Nottingham yeast. So nice, it's going to be a nice English tropical pale ale. So that's what I'm aiming at. So yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Quite excited to see or to taste what Harlequin hop tastes like. So I'm really going to be showcasing this in this kind of smash beer, extract beer. So yeah, I'll show you how I do it. I'm going to do some footage, and yeah, we'll get it brewed. So let's get going. Right, today I'm using my 20 litre stock pot I bought from Amazon. It's about 20 quid. It's perfect for these kind of extract brews. I'm only doing kind of half of the volume in the boil. So I've got 10 litres of water in here, which I've added about 1/4 of a Camden tablet just to kind of deal with the chlorine in the water. So bringing that up to the boil. But before it gets to the boil, I'm just going to take it off and dissolve 1 can of the extract, which I've got sitting in some hot water over here just to soften it up to make it easier to pour. So I'm going to dissolve that into the water, bring it to the boil, and then such an easy brew this. I've got 2 hop additions, which are 25 grams each. One's going in with 10 minutes to go, and the other one's going in as a hop stand. So I'm going to bring the water down to about 80 degrees, add my final hop addition, and let that sit for about 10 minutes. So in terms of actually putting it together, this is very straightforward. So yep, next thing, let's get the extract in the water. Okay, so I've just taken the pot off of the heat source just to add my extract. So I add my 1 tin of extract. The second tin I'll be adding at the end, so I'm just using this one in the boil itself. Don't add it on into the pot when you've got this on the heat source, otherwise it will just stick to the bottom and scorch, and that won't be very good. So I'm just doing this before it sort of comes to the boil, off of the heat source, and make sure it's mixed in well and it's not stuck to the bottom before you put it back on the heat source. So I'm going to carry on doing this, wash this tin out with a bit of boiling water to get every last bit of extract out, whack it back on the heat source, and yeah, bring it up to the boil. Right, so we've got a good boil on the go. I've put my wort chiller in there as well, just to sanitize it. So it's been boiling for about 5 minutes now, so I'm ready for my first hop addition. So this is going in really just for the last 10 minutes. So really there's only 10 minutes left of the boil, and that's it. So a nice short one. So that's going in now. I'll set the timer for 10 minutes and then it's flame out. Okay, so now it's cooled down to 80 degrees. I'm going to add my final hop addition, a hop stand. This is another 25 grams of Harlequin. So let's add that in, give it a good dunking, and let that sit for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to cool it right down to probably about 30 degrees as I'm topping up with cold water. So hopefully that'll give me the perfect yeast pitching temperature. Okay, Nottingham yeast pitched. I'm choosing to put this one in a quiet corner rather than in the shed as it's freezing down there, so it's kind of more efficient to keep it warm in the house, and I've got it attached to my Inkbird, so I'll just kick in the heat when it gets below 20. So I'm going to leave that for, I don't know, 8 days, something like that, 8-10 days, and then I'm going to dry hop it with the remaining 50 grams of Harlequin. So see you at the end. Okay, so here we are, back for the tasting. So I transferred this into a pressure barrel that's been in my shed now for well over a month. Quite cool temperatures. So it's been conditioning away quite nicely. It's got a nice tight creamy head on it because it's been served from a pressure barrel, so there's not much carbonation, but as I said before, you get that nice sort of spritzy carbonation from these pressure barrels and a nice sort of creamy head. So here it is, Harlequin smash with Maris Otter extract. So I only used that Muntons Craft Your Own liquid extract. That was the Maris Otter variety. So one thing I notice immediately is the colour of it. So considering this is supposed to be purely Maris Otter extract, it's very dark. So I'm starting to sound like a bit of a broken record, I think, with this liquid malt extract, but it certainly seems to, certainly, well, at least in my brews, there seems to be a bit of a trend of late with the liquid malt extracts coming out a lot darker than I expected. So I think a fellow YouTuber, Mr Scotchpie, touched on this recently on one of his videos, and the phenomenon of the liquid malt continuing to kind of darken in the can, which might explain it. But I mean, this range of extracts hasn't really been out that long, so even if this is one of the first ones, it probably hasn't been sitting around for that long. So I don't know if that explains the colour of it or not, but anyway, it's a lot darker than I was hoping for. Certainly if you brew or grain with Maris Otter, it comes out a really nice light golden colour. So yeah, it's nothing like what I was expecting it to look like colour wise. So let's get that out of the way. Nice head, as I said, straight out of the pressure barrel. So yeah, pretty decent. What does it smell like? Now, Harlequin promised me tropical fruit aromas, citrusy tropical fruit aromas, and I'm not getting really much of that. It's more kind of a stewed fruit type aroma, if you know what I mean. Kind of, you know, like if you stewed apricots and prunes and that kind of stuff. It's more that kind of aroma to me, but that might be the malt as well, because there's a strong kind of malty aroma coming off it, but it smells more like what I've done with First Gold, or sort of like a Cascadia First Gold type aroma. Again, nothing like what I was hoping for or expecting from this. So malt hasn't really delivered what I was expecting, and the hops certainly haven't delivered on the aroma. So let's dive in and give it a taste. It's not a bad beer. It's quite pleasant, but it is malty. Not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for a nice, light pale ale. And I don't think you could really describe that as a nice, light pale ale. It's got quite a bit of body to it. You can definitely taste malt extract again in this. If you put that in front of me and I had no idea what it was, I'd probably be able to tell you it was malt extract. And that seems to be the kind of overpowering flavour on this. There's not really much hop flavour. Considering the amount of hops I used in this, there's not a huge amount of hop flavour. It's in the background. There's a pleasant taste and aroma. It's a nice bittering, but that's really all I can say about it. It's not really blowing me away. It's a pleasant, easy drinking beer, I would say. It's not turned out at all the style I was planning. So a bit disappointed really. So a bit disappointed in those cans of extract and disappointed in the Harlequin hops. So I don't think I will be using the Harlequin hops on its own again like this. And I've got one can of that extract left, and I definitely won't be using it in a pale ale or anything. I'm actually planning another sort of American brown ale, so I think I'm going to chuck it in there where it'll just kind of blend in with the rest of the dark malts. But yeah, little bit disappointed. I don't know if I'll bother finishing the keg, to be honest. As I say, it's not an unpleasant beer. It's reasonably nice, but it's not really what I was hoping for, or really what I quite fancy drinking. But I suppose it's not taking up any room. I might leave it for a bit, and I can't see it really getting any better than that. So yeah, bit of a yeah really. But anyway, onwards and upwards. Some you win, some you lose. This one I think I will not be chalking up as a particular success, but it's good learning problem anyway. Every day is a school day, so there we are. Anyway, cheers guys.